Mute my phone.
Yeah. We'll call this meeting to order. Robin, will you call roll, please?
Mr. McNulty,
Here.
Mr. Bellis,
Here.
Mr. Pierce, Mr. Freeman,
Here.
Ms. Harris.
Here.
Go ahead, Robin, you want to read what we got tonight?
Sure. So we have one case on the agenda this evening. This is rezoning case CON-22-06 for Tidal Wave Auto Spa. This is in reference to property located at 6519 Columbus Pike. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 2.5 acres from Planned Commercial and Office District, PCD, to a new Planned Commercial and Office District to be developed with a car wash operation. In 1994, the Township Board of Trustees approved rezoning application 4047, rezoning 2.85 acres at 6519 Columbus Pike from C2 to PCD for a convenience store, produce barn, and gas station. In 1997, under application 7083, rezoned 6519 Columbus Pike from PCD to PCD, allowing the existing produce barn to use it for storage operations and food and retail. Parcels in question are recommended as commercial in the 2018 Orange Township Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Parcel is surrounded on three sides by Planned Commercial and Office District and bordered on the east by Farm Residential District, as well as Lewis Center Road and Columbus Pike, also known as Route 23. A brief summary of applicant's rezoning request. Permitted and prohibited uses, a commercial car wash, and ancillary activities associated with its operation are permitted. All other uses are not permitted under proposed development text. Total impervious space proposed is 1.15 acres or 45.7% lot coverage. A total of 28 parking stalls are provided. This includes 24 vacuum stalls and 2 ADA stalls. Parking setbacks, proposing 6 feet from side or rear property line, 6 feet minimum required. All lighting shall comply with Article 21 of the Orange Township Zoning Resolution. Lighting structures are proposed to have a maximum height of 20 feet. Applicant is proposing one monument-style sign with a total display area of 29.75 square feet with a height of 8 feet. 2 facelit channel letter signs are proposed on the entrance and exit of the building, each having a total sign display of 19.01 square feet. 2 double-faced, non-illuminated entrance signs are also proposed, with each having a total display area of 3 square feet. And dumpster panels are proposed to be painted with additional signage totaling 31 square feet. Building setbacks are as follows. Front from a Class A road is 42.2 feet. Which is a divergence from the 80-foot setback, and Class B is 37 feet, 70 feet is the setback. So they are also asking for a divergence. Brett, can you confirm that number, that 387?
Yeah, I believe it's 38.7.
38 feet. Okay. 38.7 feet. The required distance being 70 feet. A divergence is also requested from that. In total, 6 divergences are requested from section 14.06 B10. A minimum of 5 acres required. The proposed site acreage is 2.5 acres. This section of the code only applies to phased developments. Since this project would not be phased, we do not believe this divergence request is necessary. Also, a divergence from section 14.06F, no plat required. The existing 3 parcels to be combined into 1 parcel when rezoned. Section 21.09A, requesting to reduce the building setback along US 23 from 80 feet to 42 feet and 7 inches. Section 21.09B, requesting to reduce the building setback along Lewis Center Road from 70 feet to 38 feet and 7 inches. Section 21.01D, requesting to reduce the parking setback from 48 feet to 1 foot along US 23 right-of-way. I believe there is some question as to whether this divergence will be required, as it is a parking setback and their plans show a drive aisle. Section 21.01D, requesting to reduce the parking setback from 42 feet to 38 feet along the Lewis Center Road right-of-way. In terms of additional staff comments, the only thing that we have regarding this application is that the applicant did not include letters regarding access from ODOT or the Delaware County Engineer's Office with their application. In terms of technical review, Orange Township Fire had some concerns about the accessibility of the site, but they will defer to the county engineer. Orange Township Parks and Operations Department requests removal of the Bradford pear as a permitted tree type, given that this has been declared an invasive species by ODNR. Delaware County Regional Planning Commission heard this application previous Thursday, May 26th. They did recommend conditional approval with 4 recommendations. One, that screening and buffering shall be provided along the entire east side of the subject site to adequately protect the adjacent properties from noise, light trespass, or any other nuisances emanating from the proposed use. 2, all points of ingress and egress must be approved by ODOT and Delaware County Engineer's Office prior to approval of Certificate of Zoning Compliance. 3, coordinate with the development to the south to relocate their current driveway to a shared drive along the eastern edge of the site and enhanced screening on the western property line along US 23. That concludes the staff report.
Well, please come up, tell us your name and address, and when you should expect the Delaware County engineers, because to me, that's the key to this whole project.
Yep. Good evening, board members. My name is Jack Reynolds. I'm an attorney with Smith & Hale at 37 West Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio. And the applicant has been working both with ODOT and the county engineer's office. And we have gotten feedback from ODOT that we will not be able to gain access off of 23 in any way, shape, or form. So we would have to revise our site plan to remove that curb cut. Now, we are still working with the county engineer on what type of access we're going to get off of Lewis Center. At this point in time, it's kind of complicated. The reason being is that, when you buy a piece of property, you got to look hard. There is actually, from the property to the south, there is an easement that comes up that kind of runs right through the middle of our property. And what we're trying to do is get the property owner to the south to relocate. And so as a part of that discussion, we have been talking with the county engineer about ensuring that that party has full access to Lewis Center. So what we have done is recently, as I think Friday or today, they forwarded the easement off to the county engineer to have them review as to how that access easement is going to impact that curb cut, because we're not the only one that's going to be using the curb cut. It will be both us and the property owner to the south. So right now, what is being proposed is a right in, a left in, and a right out. What they're trying to do is to make a determination so we can have a left out in order to get to the traffic light at Lewis Center and 23.
So right now, ODOT has stopped you. No curb. They're saying no curb cuts on 23.
Yes.
Wow, that's really different from what that property was before. That really is to be much more of a showstopper.
And we even went to the degree of saying, how about just a right in? How about just a right out?
Right.
I mean, we started with right in, right out, then it was right in only, then right out only, and no, and no. I don't know how, it would work if the property owner to the south maybe is willing to allow us to use that curb cut to the south, but I don't think there's an easement there that would grant us that access. So right now, we still, I think I can get you a letter from ODOT that says no curb cut. and that's an easy one. I can't get you a letter right now from the county engineer that says what are the full movements or the approved movements off of Lewis Center.
Yeah, because when we first saw it, that was key, being able to turn left onto Lewis Center.
Sure.
Without being able to do that, this project, in my opinion, simply can't work because you can't get traffic in and out of a car
Well,
wash.
unfortunately, our friends at the county engineer, their idea of making it work is turning left on Lewis Center and then turning, right onto Lewis Center and then left into Kroger and taking the road all the way around Kroger to get to the light north of Kroger. And, the client was like, are you kidding me? So we're still working through it. I can't tell you what it's going to be in terms of what the access movement is tonight. But we are working on it and are hopeful that we'll get something from the county engineer, although we've been working with the county engineer, I think, since January. So I think that's...
To me, that's a showstopper because Orange Township Fire has already said without, approvals by Delaware County Engineering, because their approvals rest on that. You don't have Orange Township Fire, you don't have Delaware County Engineering.
Well, sooner or later, if this is the stance they're going to take, something has to be able to go into the site. I don't know how it'll work at that point in time.
You're correct.
But again, it's a car wash. It is how do I want to say it? On a hot summer day, after it's been dusty, you'll get a lot of trips generated. But over, the hours of operation are from 8 to 8. And in the wintertime, it will probably drop to 8 to 6. So again, there's a limited amount of time that the facility will be open. So once again, you're cutting down the number of trips generated to the site just simply by the hours of operation. We're going to have anywhere from 3 to 5 employees on site, so it's not a big generator of employee parking. Other than that, some of the things that did come up, and again, maybe I can just speak to some of the items. The county engineer, the Mid-Ohio folks asked, and we're ready to agree to planting evergreens and arborvitaes along the eastern property line to provide something more than just the native vegetation over there. So that will be added to the site plan to create a more adequate screening for 12 months a year. So that needs to be added to the site plan as well. And I think we are willing to work with you all to provide a headlight screening along that drive aisle as it curves south out of the car wash area, just to prevent light from going on to 23 as those cars come out later in the evening when lights would be on or when headlights would be on. So we have no problem with providing that kind of material. And other than that, if you all have any questions, 8-foot high sign meets the code for the setback where it's located. You've got the wall sign above the entrance and exit of 19 square feet. It is, I think if I remember correctly, that sign is a little less than, the eave is 12 feet, so it's a little less than 12 feet to the top of that channel lettering on the face of the entrance and exit. And then you've got some directional signs that get you on and off the site, as well as an ordering board for the folks that pull up to the pay kiosk, and then they've got some, there you go. There's the pay kiosk signage that, just gives you the options of what you can buy as you go through the car wash. And then there is some signage on the dumpster. That's on the dumpster there. As Robin said, we meet the code for the lighting that's in your zoning code. You have a copy of the lighting plan as part of the application. I would like to think it's a nice looking building. And then, of course, we do have the vacuum facility, which is just kind of a canopied structure, and it has a small building that is directly to the east of it. It's where they do their storage, etc. And again, we have given elevations of that as a part of the application. There is one delivery truck per week, and that's primarily just the dropping off the soap, etc. And then they do have one trash pickup per week. So again, it's not a highly trafficked, for those types of activities. And as I said, it's an 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. During regular season, and then 8 to 6 during the winter. And I think trash and the vacuuming, it goes with the actual facility itself. It will go on at 8 in the morning, go off at 8 at night, or 6 when staff leaves. So it's not a 24-hour operation, just regular hours, and it will be staffed during that period of time.
Well, the rest of the board can discuss as they like, but this would be a no for me without Orange Township fire approval and Delaware County engineering. My personal opinion is I think we're wasting our time and yours without those approvals, because this thing could just get shot down in an instant. But the rest of the board is free to discuss the rest of the stuff if they like.
And if I can clarify something, Mr. McNulty, Orange Township Fire has conditionally approved these plans, but it is based on the current site plan and the county engineer's recommendations.
It's dependent on Delaware County engineering.
But
when you mean current site plan, do you mean what we're seeing here?
correct.
So basically, they haven't seen the revised site plan to
That is correct.
comment on it.
Given the divergences that are being requested for setbacks, the number of them and the size of them, it seems pretty clear to me on the face of it that this facility doesn't fit on this lot.
Let's go back to that.
I mean, if you don't get all those divergences, you can't squeeze the car wash onto that lot.
Now, I also, back up, my colleague had a similar question about the divergences. Generally, a lot of the people in the township are trying to move away from automobile-oriented type of development. And you're requesting basically 4 divergences based on like setbacks. And I would have issues approving divergences for setbacks because there's a reason for them. Some of it has to do with like site distance on 23 or on Lewis Center Road and the type of road they are. Some of it has to do with traffic. Others, you have a residence on the east side of the property. So I have issues with those divergences. I'm not worried about the administrative ones when it comes to like plat or things of that nature, but when you're dealing with divergences based on land use, that has me very concerned. The other question I have, are you done or may I?
Oh, I could go for a while. I'll let you go first.
There's sort of like a tail or a piece of the property that sits to the south. What are the plans for that? Is that Is that going to be developed? Is it going to be set aside as green space?
It will be ultimately, we're hoping that the drive aisle for the property owner to the south will come up along that eastern property line. Other than that, there's nothing else that is shown on your site plan, so it will be a mowed piece of property,
Okay.
grass.
Yeah, so I would like to know how that is going to be used than just sort of a generic blank piece of land that you could potentially develop in the future. And the other thing is, I know you talked about it briefly, there's like 10 feet between your drive aisle and the neighboring property line. I know we have the 100-foot distance from a residential use. I guess drive aisle and parking doesn't fit in that. It looks like everything else is 100 feet away. But I would request, especially if cars are going up and down there, that maybe some mounding and, landscaping
Well,
might be nice for those residences back there.
I would say more than that would be required, because you not only have a headlight issue, you also have a noise issue from not only the cars, but the vacuum motors and the motors in the facility itself to drive the car wash, the spraying water. It's a lot of sound. And I realize that we don't really have any requirements in the zoning code yet about spillage of noise off a property like we do for spillage of light. But a car wash seems like almost an extreme situation in terms of noise. And to have it that close to a residential property concerns me. And I don't think some arborvitae are going to solve that problem. I think you need a 6 to 8 foot brick wall with some plantings in front of it. What I'm thinking of is, as an example, is Blazer Parkway. I'm not sure if it's Columbus or Dublin, alongside Tuttle Crossing Mall, where to protect the properties that are across the street from the mall, they had to build a brick wall down the entire length of that road for noise and headlight. And theirs, I think, is only 6 feet. I think this would need to be higher because of the proximity to the residential properties there.
And to sort of reiterate what my colleague said, I know you said this is going to have light usage. If that's the case, why are there 24 vacuum stalls for 24 potential cars? That doesn't imply light usage. I know you have a standard, plan for this
Yeah.
that comes from the corporate office, but I question if you're having to ask all these divergences and you have parking for 24 cars, maybe it is a little too big for this site, and maybe you should go down to, I don't know if there's a 15-car version or something like that might have less of an impact on the roads and on the neighbors. It's just a suggestion, but there's a lot of, I want to say I'm with Dennis, there's a lot of issues that haven't been resolved that I would not feel comfortable approving this as it stands. Am I allowed? You under? Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
I realize that what I'm about to say is a little out of scope for this commission, but I took a quick look, and within a 5-mile drive in either direction, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 car washes, either in existence or that will be in existence by the end of this calendar year. I'm including the sheets. I don't understand the business case of why they even want to build this. I mean, I realize it's not our problem, but I'm concerned about potentially going through all of this work, these guys building this thing, and having it go out of business in a year. And then we've got a car wash, and there really isn't any other purpose for a car wash building. If a restaurant goes out of business, another restaurant might move in. Once this is built up as a car wash, it's a full demolition if that property is going to get repurposed. And especially since one of those car washes is almost literally across the street from this lot to the north, I have a hard time understanding how this is going to be a going concern for any length of time.
I can only answer that, they have people who come out and look at the different sites and they analyze, because I would certainly surmise that they're not going to come in and invest the money in the site just to have it fail. And I mean,
Sure.
the same can be said, you look at, and I think about, you can go in a lot of places around Central Ohio, you can find a four-cornered intersection and there's a fast food restaurant on every corner, and maybe one on either side of those corner lots. So, there's a certain synergy.
Well, sure. And it's not uncommon to find Starbucks opening locations across the street from an existing coffee place. But car washes seem to be a bit of a different story. And when they decided to do this, they probably didn't know about the sheets, which is approved for being 2 miles exactly from this property, which has a car wash in it, which will be across the street from an existing car wash.
Well, evidently, car wash business must be good. They're popping up.
Clean cars.
They are currently, they've got an application in Delaware, city of Delaware, and they're looking at other sites around the Central Ohio area. So we must have dirty cars.
Well, I guess it's popular because within that 5 miles, plus or minus, north or south, there are 3 blue sky car washes. So, they apparently feel that, 3 to 5 miles apart is enough separation, at least for the one brand. But when you put it all in aggregate, it's kind of a lot. It makes me personally less inclined to entertain significant divergences so that yet another car wash can be squeezed into the area.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. I'm taking notes.
And if this is to move forward, just to keep the back and forth from getting a little absurd, I had some other issues. One thing I wanted to say, by the way, is looking at the plans. This is a really nice looking car wash. I mean, in its favor, I think they've put together a very attractive package. I don't think it's the right lot for it. If you were to buy the property to the south and combine the lots and reconfigure the thing, I could see where this would be possible, and it would be a relatively attractive building for a car wash. However, I'd like to see sidewalks.
Okay.
I'd like to see. Certainly, I agree that we don't want another curb cut on 23. We'd need that acoustic wall and trees along the east side. So, I think there's significant issues here. That's
For me, my opinion rests on the revised or reviewed again by fire department and the regulatory ultimate authority. I'm not so challenged by some of the urgent request, and I agree with, the idea of, sound, kind of sound dimming situation and that sort of thing. And I agree it is a nice looking building. Of course, I asked the same question of the car wash thing, but they're popping up like crazy. They tell me they do better in the winter than they do in the summer. A lot of people like to wash all the salt off their cars. There's money in it. So.
And from a traffic perspective, you were saying that the thing would be only open till like 6 in the winter and so forth. It would still be open during morning rush hour, during evening rush hour.
Yes.
At the peak traffic periods, it would be open, and you wouldn't be driving all that traffic. It's hard to drive multiple vehicles at once. But there would be a lot of traffic being driven by the presence of this thing on Lewis Center Road, especially if that's going to be the only access and egress from this thing. During peak traffic periods when things are already kind of tied up over there. I just see.
That's why Delaware County is not going to allow left turn on Lewis Center. All that stuff's a moot point because that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to see Lewis Center is going to continue to grow. It's not a country road,
Right.
and it's not going to be for the future. It's unfortunate that this is the property you have because, in my opinion, and some others, we'll see what happens. It's probably not workable. The board, any other comments from the board?
I have one other question.
Go ahead.
It's designed though that it's only operational if it has staff there, right? It's not.
No, it has to have staff.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a come and do it yourself.
Yeah. Just because it has I suspect at some point that's where they're going to go, where you have the subscription and so forth. Come in, they'll figure out a way, put in your code, let it pull your car through, and move on. But
We haven't gotten there yet.
not yet.
We're getting.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to get any public comments that you've come tonight, so you certainly come up and introduce yourself, your name and address, please, and any comments from anybody, just don't duplicate them if somebody's already said it.
My name is Mark Rosenko. I live at 170 Lewis Center. I'm that house to the east. Okay. We have headlights right now as a crazy from Kroger's. Years ago, wall was supposed to be high. Township came to me and said, lower a little bit. We'll give you trees. It don't work. Okay. The headlights come rolling right through. Everything over there. And to this gentleman's point, in the wintertime, there's not much. Go look at the sky. Go look at the car wash when it's a nice sunny day and we're dead of winter. Everybody's in there. Pullman Road is a parking lot all the way out around past the gas station that's there, and it backs up. I mean, Dairy Queen does the same thing. So where's the traffic going to back up when that happens? What road is that going to go on?
They double stack all the way around. So they've got wide enough to have two cars come around side by side. So it's right there, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11. And then they can curve around and head up.
Next to my house. I kind of figured looking at that. I was waiting for you to say that. I don't want them parked next to my house. How wide is that gap next to my house since you're tearing all the trees out? Why is that piece of land driveway to my property line? Okay, your wall is going to be have to be a lot taller, definitely, and it needs to extend all the way down. That building goes east to west. Okay, ever been at a car wash? What's at the end of a car wash? Those big blowers, right? They dry your car off. They're quiet, aren't they? Oh, and it's going to be 8 to 8 business hours. That ain't business hours. 8 to 5 is a normal business. This is a retail thing. You're going for 8 to 8. They're going to be in there all the time. It's also going to be Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah. It goes up there. Whatever I had is gone. No, I don't want it. It's ridiculous. No reason to rezone. Put a little office building in there. Put some insurance guy in there. Okay.
You don't get to decide.
I know, but find somebody like that wants to do that. I mean, it's a common, quiet business, whatever. Hey, we had Ohio Mulch, was horrible. They moved down 2 blocks. Now it's my neighbor 2 blocks down, the dust cloud problem every year. Okay, that's still happening. That hasn't been handled. You moved in a guy with the furniture. Quiet. Occasionally hear a forklift. No problem. Wonderful. Okay? We need something like that. That's doable. But we don't need that. I got enough blue glow from the other place. Really, I don't need night light. Daylight in the house. Now they're getting construction or something rebuilt, so the blue lights are off for a little while, but it's usually on. But Holman Avenue backs up. People are turning off of Lewis Center, making a left in the Kroger's, and the other people are just laying on the horn. So we hear that all the time. Okay, so making a left out of there, and if you look at the way those two will line up, my edge and that's going to be face to face. So you're going to have people coming out, people trying to make a left, if they do allow that, which you're saying they probably never will. And you said they won't allow a turn off at 23, so how do you get in that place?
Well, and given how close it is to 23, if the cars can only come in from 23 to make a right in there,
Mm-hmm.
there's a possibility cars could be backed all the way out into the traffic light.
Well, yeah.
Which is the same issue that I brought up about the sheets possibly causing traffic backing up through the orange roadway with 23. I think we could see the same kind of problems here. It's just too close to 23.
I mean, and since the light was added on Dubois, it's already. I mean, I have to wait for somebody to let me out of my driveway. I mean, it gets times of the day it's completely bad, especially now that they're heading for the lake. So I mean, it's one car after another, nonstop. And if that light changes, goes right past my house and starts back. I've already seen it all the way to the turn, trying to make a right onto Lewis Center. So we've got, and the lighting issue and the sound issue it's getting there. I mean. Somebody sets the alarms off over at the bar across the street at night in their car, so you have to wait for them to realize whose car it is and then shut it off, all that kind of stuff. It's getting loud. And that hill is not as high as it was supposed to be. It's settled down a lot. So those headlights from across the street are all coming in. And I envision the same thing again, especially since this thing is facing east and west. I expect the noise. That's just a tunnel shooting straight at the house. Any questions for me?
Let me just simply say,
No.
operationally, they can put a car through. So they do run the cars through fairly, and since I didn't take a look at this evening, there are letters here and correct. I can get more information from the operation plan. The noise levels are up, facilities, etc. So I will come better on with more information on the operations of the different locations.
And because you've already heard the concerns about all the divergences
Yes.
and, yep, okay.
Do they have a facility in there?
This is their first foray into Central Ohio. They're originally from the south. So they're coming in and they just take Orange Township, Gold Star, and Delaware as their first trial areas, sites here in Central Ohio. So the gentleman has been here, he has been also looking around the outer belt to come up with other locations here in Central Ohio. So we'll see more of these even here.
I don't know how we decide on a date for this because since we're waiting on Delaware County, you know, I think I guess to be tough because we can't say, hey, what do you want? Because that's,
I think Jack's requesting the tabling, which means
yes,
we don't know when.
okay,
You know, he'll notify staff and we'll notify
okay,
public, but you know, it's up to them on when they want to pull it off the table.
okay. We'd have a motion. for
Yeah,
that?
so you just need a motion to table the application. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Anybody else have any other additional comments? You'd like to speak? Okay. All right.
So it concerns everybody over on Block 2, when they heard about this. They're all facing it up.
A motion to table ZON-22-06 until a date when the applicant will let us know.
Second.
Mr. McNulty?
Yes.
Mr. Pierce?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Bellis?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else we need to do tonight, Robert?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping because I don't type the minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.